I'm not sure he'll play too much. 4.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Ahead of Vardy, for someone like him, has to be a good deal.
80 might be a risk, a little bit of a risk. Saw some guys in kilts throw big poles around.
That and more in the next few minutes, as myself and Paddy, recently returning from vacation, have all the answers to your questions. I've said all the answers now, so we need to, make sure we've got them.
From Sean Wood, straight into it. Will Bale leave by the end of the week? And if so, who to? Thanks, keep up the great work. Thanks for the nice compliment, Sean.
Putting a timeline on it's a bit much.
Yeah.
The reason why it would happen sooner rather than later is because the Premier League closes in 2 weeks transfer window.
Yep.
So that's the one that would be rushed through as opposed to anywhere else.
Yeah, and when we're thinking about this much money, both in terms of the transfer fee, but probably more importantly the wages, the Premier League is potentially the most likely destination.
Yeah, but it would also have to be done quicker. And he's not leaving on loan,
correct.
I've said.
Yeah.
Agent, not leaving on loan.
Yep.
Moving on though, we're discussing this story a little bit more in depth.
Yep.
From Danish Wahid, who said, do you think Zidane is being disrespectful towards Bale, or Bale deserves it? And should Bale leave to earn 1 million a year or not? I think it's 1 million a week. He means was the reported Chinese
So
deal.
I think it's clear that Zidane doesn't have Bale in his plans. I think probably the timing / tone of the statement he made about Zidane earlier in the week could have been a little bit more subtle, or at least cushion the impact a little bit. But the fact remains that he's not part of the plans of Real Madrid, and I think that's also fine to make clear. So it does let clubs know who might be interested in coming for him that he's available.
Even with Asensio injured now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, that's a really good question. Will Zidane go back on that? I'm not sure. It's probably not the sort of thing Zidane would go back on.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. In any case, he's not going to make that sort of money anywhere else. So if he is to leave, it would be a bit of a knock on his wages. But in terms of the overall question, I think Zidane probably could have phrased it a bit better, but also I think good to make that clear to both player and public and fans as well.
Can you yawn underwater?
If you're tied underwater, then you're in trouble.
But very quickly, before we get on with the rest of the Q&A, a quick shout out to subscribe, to smash that like button just down there for loads of content that we've got coming up. But let's get back into it. With you.
So from Peter Flekstad, how will Atletico Madrid do in La Liga and the Champions League without Godin and Griezmann?
I think not so well.
Yeah.
I think this is a massive hit. You don't just lose one of the best centre-backs your club has ever had and one of the most prolific strikers in Europe in the last 5 years and come out the other side better.
Tough one, huh? Yeah.
Really, considering, okay, João Felix, big signing. Unsure as to how well he'll do. It may pay off in the long run, but first season to be like, hey, you're replacing Griezmann now. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Morata, they haven't really replaced Godin. Felipe looks a good signing, but not quite Godin's level. Kieran Trippier at right back. There's Rodri's left. Rumours that 1 or 2 others could leave.
It's going to be a tough year, I think, for them, at least compared to the previous seasons.
I still think third best in La Liga.
Yeah.
I'm still putting them to finish second or third, fighting with Real Madrid.
Yep.
As for the Champions League, though, no, I can't see them going a bit further.
Yep, agreed.
Unfortunately not. Next up from Joe Sports, do you think Liverpool can achieve more than they did last season with the squad they have, or should they make marquee signings?
So what's left to achieve? It's obviously the Premier League. The last time someone did the double of the Champions League and the Premier League was years ago. Not off the top of my head, at least. I think they probably don't need to rush into the market, but I think they definitely need potentially a new centre-back. I think that would help the squad, and maybe a new central midfielder, but particularly the centre-back, where I would see that someone to come in alongside Van Dijk. I think, Lovren is there and he's decent enough. Matip is there and he's decent enough, but both of them are not quite world-class, and if you put a world-class central defender next to another one in Van Dijk, that would make a big difference and go a long way to helping them actually win that title. Yeah,
and I feel like the squad depth wasn't tested last season at all. They went out the League Cup first round, the FA Cup the first one they were involved. They had 2 competitions to focus on, and Salah played every single Premier League game.
Yeah.
So that, but I'm talking in terms of injuries and having to rotate like other teams did. They weren't tested at all.
They still had more pressure on every game with the title race going.
No, I'm saying they did, but what I mean is, I think they do need to go out and sign players.
Yeah, right.
Because they weren't tested.
Yeah.
They were very lucky. Firmino had a few weeks out. Mane and Salah, Van Dijk, every single
But then,
game.
I mean, that's the reason why Shaqiri's there and why there's a few guys that they can call off. Why Origi's there as well, where they have a good depth of squad.
But I agree with you in the centre-back department as well. Although Matip did come in and do fantastically well.
So, from Paul86, if Danny Rose leaves Tottenham, what replacement could they get?
Well, Ryan Sessegnon is being talked about. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about Danny Rose leaving.
You are a big Danny Rose fan, aren't you?
A big Danny Rose fan. Lots of passion and commitment. He's not afraid to speak his mind. Been through a lot with the Spurs fans. Sort of speaking out about he doesn't know who the transfers are and not too happy with the wage budgets. And then to kind of fight his way back into being first choice. 12 years he's been at Spurs. He's one of the guys who cares the most. And apparently he said that there gets to a time where Pochettino says, you're of a certain age, you may not be needed in the squad. And he's 29.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
He's not even 30 yet. And getting Ryan Sessegnon
Very good maths, Matt, by the way. Yeah, 29 is not even 30 yet.
I'm screwed on. Ryan Sessegnon is looking a decent winger / fullback. Replacing Danny Rose. I mean, Ben Davies is there, who's good as well. But
it's a tough one.
I would love, if you took anyone, Alex Grimaldo from Benfica.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Big raps on him, obviously, from Barcelona product as well. So I think he's happy from what I can read at Benfica at the moment. But then again,
if you were to put a name on it,
put a big enough price behind that, and you could maybe go.
That's true.
Next
up from Mini Ginge. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to make any jokes here.
Did I ask myself a question?
Why do you think Fekir chose Betis and not a bigger club?
It's a great question. I actually probably don't have a clear answer for it, but I love this transfer.
I love it too.
Yeah, I really do. I think Betis have stolen a march, have asked a question and got a positive answer. And there are a lot of clubs who probably sat there. Liverpool went close to signing them for a lot more last season before that sort of fell through. I think Fekir has a few questions over his knees, from what I can understand. But Betis have loaded this deal in a way that still protects them and also represents a nice bargain. So I don't know how they got it across the line. I think they probably did it nice and quickly. I think for Fekir, it's a bit of a strange one because he probably had better options out there. But I like the transfer overall. I think it's really nice.
I think the fact that Liverpool backed out last year because of fitness concerns, every other big club would have then gone.
Potentially, yes. Yeah, potentially, yes. Yep.
A 25 million injury risk is better than a 60 million injury, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. But I also think that maybe Spurs, for example, could have taken that risk for that price as well. Why not?
Yeah, true. I remember they got other targets, I guess.
So on to me from Nightwalker. Very nice. Do you think in today's market, 80 million euros for Paulo Dybala is a bargain?
This off the back of this Dybala to Spurs rumour.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. For someone like him, 80 million. Look, considering 80 million gets you Harry Maguire now, or it gets you, Romelu Lukaku and a bit of spare change.
That's a fair point. But he's not exactly coming off a great season.
No, he's not coming off a great season. He's still very talented, though, clearly. And I think, to work with the manager who could get the best out of him, like Pochettino could. I think this would be a great deal, but in terms of a bargain, 80 million for someone like him has to be a good deal.
So they're also saying potentially Inter Milan as well, a couple of other clubs. So, I mean, I don't think it's cut and dried, and I think the Spurs stuff is completely new and quite unexpected.
I'm just putting it out there, it does not seem likely at all that Dybala will join Spurs, unfortunately. It doesn't seem to be happening.
I'm not sure it's a bargain, to be honest. I think it's in the form he's in, form he's shown over the past year or so, 80 might be a risk, a little bit of a risk. I think potential-wise, if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have said, go for it, by all means. But with the benefit of hindsight, a little bit riskier than it was a year ago.
Okay, fair enough. Next up, from Diamond Dasher 413. This probably links into our question.
Okay.
What's the most ludicrous transfer rumour you two have heard this summer?
Well, if it's not the one before, I actually saw Mandzukic to Everton.
Wow.
Yeah, they haven't had anyone that crazy since Duncan Ferguson.
I was such a big fan of Duncan Ferguson.
Who wasn't?
Oh my God. Yeah, that is quite an odd one.
I also thought that, Vincent Janssen to Mexico sounded weird to me. It went through. And then, to be honest, Trippier to Atletico.
Trippier seemed odd.
When that first came out, I was like, no chance. And then literally 48 hours later, done deal.
Yeah.
So, who knows, of course, but I think Mandzukic to Everton sounds a bit nuts to
The
me.
weirdest one for me was Diego Costa to Wolves.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. Speaking of crazy front end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That one would just...
Yeah.
Oof.
That'd rock. I would love that. Yeah.
It would be amusing.
It would be super amusing. Amusing. Okay, so a quick fire from Short Clip Maker. Rate out of 10 how successful these new players are going to be, not considering the money they've spent on them. So, more on the pitch in terms of effect. So Rodri to City.
8. I think it'd be brilliant.
Ndombele at Spurs.
8.
Nico Schulz at Dortmund.
Oh, 8 as well. This is a positive. These are all really good signings.
You know that there's a few other numbers between 1 and 10 that you can choose.
I didn't know.
You and your mouse, mate. Joe Linton to Newcastle.
Ooh, this is slightly
8.
riskier. Yeah. 8. No, I'm going to go 6.
Okay. Perez to Leicester.
I'm not sure he'll play too much. 4.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Ahead of Vardy?
Yeah. But maybe as a second striker supporting role. I mean, he doesn't have to
James Maddison has got that role.
fairly
Yeah,
decent
okay.
too. Pavard to Bayern.
6. I'm not sure if he'll be starting.
Okay, yeah. James to United. It's Daniel James, of course.
Is that Daniel James or is it James?
It's Daniel James.
It's Daniel
These
James.
are done deals, yeah.
Okay, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much he'll play. He looks good at 5 for a first season.
Okay. Trippier to Atleti.
4. I don't see him having a stellar campaign.
Manolas to Napoli.
6.
Ramsey to Juve.
3. I don't see what he's going to bring to the team ahead of what they've got.
Okay, yeah, really, that's
Yeah.
super low. And Rodrigo to Real.
I'd say 3, but only because I don't think he's going to play much.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That's not knocking his talent. I just,
Fair enough.
It has his effect. Right, next up, Callum Law. Which Premier League manager will be sacked first?
I think it'll be Pellegrini.
You reckon?
Yeah, I just don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think West Ham. I mean, they spend a lot of money. They get very little back for that money, and I think Pellegrini is a great manager, but I don't think he's the right fit for the club, given their penchant for moving
This
things
will be
pretty
2
quick.
summers in a row, massive spending sprees, and nothing to show for it.
Correct. So, I think Pellegrini would be my most obvious choice.
That's a pretty good choice. I'm going to go with, is it Farker, the Norwich?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like they're not in the best position to stay up. Neither is
Sheffield.
Sheffield
United,
United, Chris Wilde.
Yeah, agreed. But I think they always can get a bit of leeway if the owners of the clubs are at least reasonable. There's no point getting rid of a manager when you don't have the squad to stay up in the first place.
Yeah,
so
but Pellegrini does.
Pellegrini definitely does, and probably should be pushing for Europe, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, fair enough.
So from Amilcar, do you think Barcelona need to invest more time in La Masia instead of doing big money moves like De Jong? Did Xavi Simons, I think that's how you say it,
I believe so.
Simons, make the right move to go to PSG for the sake of his career?
This one was super interesting because I feel like it represented the fact that the pathway through to the Barcelona first team is no longer, not necessarily not attractive, but no longer the only option for Barca youth graduates.
Correct.
The whole point of bringing someone else in, yes, effectively, if you were to take everything else out of it, De Jong has stunted Simmons' pathway to the first team. If you took every other factor out of it, he probably thinks he's got more chance of getting past the likes of Verratti. Idrissa Gueye coming in, potentially PSG. I think he's 29 or 30 years old already. Verratti's in there. Marquinhos is a defender that sometimes plays central midfield.
Only got a couple of years.
Herrera's got a few years left. Rabiot's gone, so he's got more chance getting to the PSG first team than Barcelona. I don't know. When you see someone like De Jong available, though, Barcelona would be stupid to not.
Agreed, but I think they don't have to be exclusive here. I think they can be. It can be a different way of looking at things. Yes, you make a good point. De Jong coming in, that's one more place in front of Xavi Simons. But at the same time, there's been something broken with La Masia for a while. And we see with a lot of their players, I think 2 of them have ended up at Dortmund, just signing, rejecting contracts at Barcelona and moving across there. There's been a couple of other players who have moved on, who have thought, well, listen, I've got the La Masia badge on my CV now. That's good enough to get me a gig somewhere else where I'm more likely to play. And I think that's where the people are really sort of starting to get a bit sick of it, Barcelona fans, that, you know, this progression, what Barcelona had that was special over everybody else is gone now, is broken. And I think this represents it, but it's certainly not the only way.
It must be pretty disheartening to see them spend hundreds of millions on Coutinho, Griezmann.
Agreed.
Suarez is still there.
But I think it's guys like when they signed that Douglas, the right back from Brazil, who was rubbish. You know.
Yeah.
It's when they signed guys like him, who was Malcolm, exactly. Who was the French centre back for a while that they had.
Oh, well, they had Yerry Mina for about 6 months.
Yeah, well,
but Todibo, no, they've just signed Todibo. Longley as well.
Yeah, well, I think Longley's got a lot ahead of him. But I think they've made some. Point is, they've made some signings where these were more squad signings, and you think, well, that at the very least is what La Masia should be there for.
They're thinking that could have been me.
Sergio Roberto, he's been one of the few ones to go through, but it's becoming rarer and rarer. And I think that's where the point where there's something broken with La Masia there.
They make a very good point. Yeah, signing squad players.
Yeah. So
you're onto something.
I'm onto something. Your question.
Right, next. I really like this question, by the way. I think this is excellent. Boy Jeremiah said, if the entire top 6 teams in the Premier League were to change their captains, who would you nominate to wear the armband? Okay. So we'll go through each one. So Man City, Vincent Kompany has just
obviously departed
this summer.
Aguero or John Stones?
Aguero or Stones?
Yep.
Not De Bruyne?
Nope.
Okay, fair enough. Yep. Liverpool, so Jordan Henderson is currently...
Van Dijk.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty easy.
Black and white.
Chelsea, Azpilicueta is... I think he's officially because Gary Cahill's not in the squad. But
I would say David Luiz. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but plenty of experience captaining teams internationally and clubs. So
yeah, absolutely. And also, he's definitely not the oldest.
Yeah.
One of the oldest who's still playing. Spurs, Hugo Lloris is the captain.
Kane.
Yeah. England captain as well. Arsenal, Laurent Koscielny looks to be on his way out.
Yeah, he seems done there. I think Xhaka's got the armband, and that probably makes sense because it's actually not a team of obvious leaders when you look on paper.
Yeah.
We don't know behind the scenes, but when you look on paper, I would say Xhaka. Or this is going to sound controversial because he's not everyone's favourite. Actually, he's few people's favourite. But Mustafi is also a very good leader. Even if he's...
I read online that Monreal's a big fan favourite, even though he doesn't play.
Go. Also.
Mine would be Hector Bellerin.
Fair call, yeah.
He's been there 6 years. Yeah. He clearly loves the club, loves Arsenal. Another one
seems like a quality guy as well.
Yeah.
So,
seems like a standout bloke, so maybe Bellerin. And last but not least, Man United, who had Antonio Valencia, who's left.
Yeah, so probably another club without any standout leaders on paper. Again, what happens behind the scenes, we're not privy to. Probably Lindelof, I would say. Yeah, I think he's going to take a big step forward as a central part of that team and one of the more regular parts of it. And I think that's probably him.
I'm thinking, and only because it's rumoured to be in his new contract, David De Gea. Apparently he wants, if he does sign this new deal, he wants to be captain as well.
Well, listen, that's fine as long as you want to stay with the club and not every 2 years make some moves to head back to Madrid.
Yeah, because, that's true.
That seems to happen on a regular basis.
But let us know your captains as well. That's really good, actually. Great question.
Okay, second last question. Who will have a bigger team on... Second last question from Clay Chapman. Who will have a bigger impact on their team, Torgan or Eden Hazard?
Ooh, I think the goals in terms of an impact will be different than what each team is aiming for.
Sure. So, I mean, within the confines of that side
of just the team, I think has. I was just about to say, I think Hazard.
That narrows it down.
Yeah. Eden.
Okay.
Eden for me.
Yeah, I tend to agree a little. Yeah.
Just because I think more responsibility is going to be placed on him, and he's been producing consistently for a longer amount of time.
I think he's the jewel in the crown that Zidane has wanted, whereas Torgan is going to come into a fairly talented front line anyway, play a big part, but I think Eden at least important from an importance point of view.
Yeah, Torgan's not the star, whereas Eden is.
Correct.
Cool, and last up from Dylan Wilson, how was your holiday, Paddy?
It's very nice of you to ask, Dylan. So I haven't got any happy snaps for you or anything. I'm sure Ryan can doctor some weird Photoshop stuff up. But basically, it turns out that summer doesn't really come to Scotland, but I still had a really good time. Went for some walks, drank a lot of whiskey, and saw some guys in kilts throw big poles around. So
all the good Scottish stuff.
All the things you need to do in Scotland, would highly recommend.
Sounds amazing. amazing.
Yeah.
So that's all from us for today, but make sure you look out every single Wednesday on YouTube for our community post where you can leave your questions for the following Friday's Q&A. But that's all me and Paddy have time for, so we will see you guys next time.